Welcome to Good or Trash, episode number 209. My friend Dahmer. My name is Eric.
And I am known as Jason.
Are you?
Yeah, about town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in inner circles.
Oh yeah, the outer circles. I don't even have any idea what I'm known as.
And then secret places. Do you have like a handshake or
Oh yeah, I love secret handshakes. Man, I do love it. I'm not even kidding. I wish we had our own secret handshake.
We could develop one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That'd be just for me and you?
Huh?
Just
Yeah.
for me and you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we can maybe sell it to the listener.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. For 3 easy installments of $59.95. You too can shake hands like a moron. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah. So, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got a little bit of a cold. I'm trying to nurse that away.
Please do.
Okay.
Away from here.
I will try.
Yeah.
I took a nap, so that should help.
That never helps.
It gives you a little bit more rest, though, you know. Fight off those.
It also gives the disease a little bit of a rest.
Oh, that's true.
Come back stronger.
Gives it a warm place to nap for
Yep.
a while.
Yep.
Disease nap. Man, I saw them open for the Melvins once. They were great. Uh-oh.
Fuck.
You're man, it's happening fast. Gwyneth Paltrow must have been around. I did hear Coldplay on the radio today. Maybe it travels that rapidly.
Wow, yeah. Through radio waves.
Yeah. Wow, wouldn't that be scary?
That would be scary.
And now the thousands of people listening to us are infected.
By thousands of people, you mean the 5 people that listen to us and their diseases.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about your luck, Jeremy and Brian. Kurt. Oh, man. So, yeah, other than that, things are good?
No.
No.
They are adequate.
Mm. Sometimes adequate's all we need.
Yeah, I'd like a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I would like a little more.
What did you think? This book was more than adequate?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah. Did you?
I did.
That's good.
Liked it more than I expected to.
Okay. The end.
Now what should we talk about?
Huh?
Now what should we talk about? Or we just go home?
We should just go.
Okay. Well, you're already there. Man, you're so lucky.
I'm good.
No, I actually want to talk about this book.
Okay. My Friend Dahmer by Derf Back Derf.
Mm.
This is, I think according to the introduction in the book, like his 3rd attempt to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say most successful attempt.
So I've never seen the others. Have you read the...
There's only one other published version.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I actually do own that.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was the very first time you and I ever went to space.
Okay.
Derf was there, as he just went by Derf at that point in time.
Right.
And he had his the 22-page, normal comic-sized version available there.
Okay.
And I just happened to glance at it, and he gave me the sales pitch, and I bought it.
Sweet. Did you like it?
As we usually try to avoid whenever we go to space.
I know. Wow. So
Yeah.
he's one of the ones that slipped in through your Achilles heel.
Yeah. And I'm glad he did, because I really liked it.
Oh, okay. You like that version too?
Yeah. Yeah, it's autographed.
Oh, nice.
Of sorts. It's not a traditional autograph.
What's he do?
He just sort of printed his name and like it was like block letters.
Yeah.
Which actually takes a little more effort
Yeah,
than just a straight up autograph.
I've seen a couple artists just print their name as the autograph. So.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, that's cool.
If anybody ever buys a comic that I do, you're pretty much lucky if you're going to be able to make out the E.
It looks cool, though. It's like a Walt Simonson kind of thing you get going.
No, because his is a thing.
Yeah.
He draws a dinosaur.
What?
Walt Simonson's signature?
Yeah.
It's a dinosaur.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to look at that. Huh. Is it always the same dinosaur?
I think so. It's like a brontosaurus.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Man, it's like... Today is full of revelations, because today we were driving around listening to Beat It in the car, and Kathleen was like, she's like, you know who does the guitar on this, right? And I was like, Eddie Van Halen, right? She's like, yeah. And we kind of talked about it for a second, like, you know, that's a weird coupling of people, even though they were both big in the 80s, and I was like, but, you know, it's not as weird as, like, Kerry King doing the Fight for Your Right to Party guitar, and she was like, excuse me? And she was like, I can't believe I didn't know that. So... She's probably right now watching the YouTube video of Fight for Your Right to Party. Because I told her, I was like, he's even in the video, I believe.
Huh. That is a revelation to me as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
I guess sort of makes sense. Weren't they both on the same record label?
Yeah, Rick Rubin's Def Jam or whatever it was called back then.
Def Jam. Or Def American. Def Jam.
Yeah.
Or who cares?
Yeah, I think it was Def Jam, Def American. He's like the Jefferson Starship of record label guys. He keeps changing his name and like just adding pieces. Sort of like Durf.
Yeah.
Wow, somehow the universe has forced us back on topic. So yeah, he goes by Durf Back Durf now.
Yeah.
Which is like his air quotes full name, I guess.
Yeah, his real name is Jeff Backdurf. So Durf is just his nickname.
It's more memorable, you know.
Yeah. Short, sweet, to the punch.
Yeah, Durf.
Yeah.
It's like Nerf.
You're not going to forget it.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up loving Nerf.
Right.
Rhymes with Nerf.
But I mean, you know, I bought that floppy version of my friend Dahmer back in 2002, whatever that was, and like I read it back then, and then I don't think I've read it since.
Yeah.
But I've always remembered Durf and my friend Dahmer.
Yeah.
So then imagine my surprise when, like, a year ago, I read that the thing is, like, I was reading something and it was like, one of the best graphic novels of 2012 is My Friend Dahmer. And I was like, what? I bought that shit back in 2002. It was like 20 pages long.
Someone stole Durf's idea. Who's this Durf Back Durf guy stealing Durf's idea? But yeah, so my friend Dahmer.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm guessing there's no one who doesn't know who Jeff Dahmer is, right?
I don't know. It's possible.
It is possible.
It's very possible. I mean, if, you know, you didn't grow up, like maybe if you were just a kid in the 90s. I bet our sometime listener, James Abels, he might not know.
Really? Well, anybody that's into like metal or something, because that kind of imagery always creeps its way.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I think that was. I mean, it's entirely possible, but it's probably unlikely.
Well, look him up if you're not familiar.
Yeah. We can give a little rundown.
Yeah.
Because I think it's safe to say that Jeffrey Dahmer is our serial killer.
You mean like because he's from our time period?
Yeah, like
and he's from Ohio.
He's from Ohio, and he got caught when we were, you know, in our formidable years, and died in our formidable years.
Right.
And sort of a big media frenzy around him.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's been as big a serial killer since. None that I can recall.
None that have been caught or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
or even have a memorable name.
Right.
I know there was a guy from Cleveland like a year or 2 years ago who killed like 4 or 5 people and buried them in his crawl space or something like that. But Can't remember his name. Don't remember much anything else
yeah,
about that case.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
But Jeffrey Dahmer was embedded in our heads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, because I remember being fascinated by, I don't know, like I loved reading about things like that when I was a kid, like Jack the Ripper and whatnot. And then I remember when that came out, I was probably like, the news came out that he, was this murderer.
Right. We were probably 13,
I was like 13, yeah. And it was fascinating to me.
Oh yeah.
I remember I read a book it was called like Milwaukee Murder or something, Milwaukee Murder. And I just remember I was in homeroom class and, Mr. Menzik, my homeroom teacher, was walking around and, it was free period. You could do whatever you want in homeroom. And I was just reading that book and, he walked over. He's like, "Oh, it's good to see people reading, like, cause most people in the class were like playing cards or just like asleep." And, he's like, "I've got 2 girls and yeah, I don't really approve of what they read." But he's like, what do young boys read? And like, I just held up the book so he could see the cover and he just goes, "Oh." And that was it. There was no more like, "Good job," or,
And then he killed himself that night.
Maybe he got his daughters to read something more interesting because they were probably reading like, I don't know, Goosebumps or Babysitter's Club. I don't know. Who knows?
Reading's reading.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for some reason he didn't.
Don't judge what people read.
I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm talking through you to your old teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
20 years
Whatever
ago.
it was, he didn't like his daughters reading it.
Right. Fuck that guy.
Maybe they were reading the same book.
Yeah, maybe. You know what? But yeah, if his daughters were reading at all, screw him. Who cares what they were reading? As long as they were doing the deed of reading.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
Yeah. Hey, you want to go out and read Twilight? I'm sorry that you're doing that, but, hey, at least you're reading something.
My mom just told me that she wants to read Shades of Grey. That's upsetting.
Well, maybe she can hang out with the 60-something-year-old man that I saw at Perkins reading the same book.
I don't want her hanging out with anyone who reads that book.
Doesn't she occasionally hang out with your girlfriend?
Yeah. Yeah, does my girlfriend read that book?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Well, they're no longer allowed to be within. I'm gonna get a restraining order against my girlfriend or my mom. Probably my girlfriend, since I live with my mom. Oh, life is awesome.
Anyway, my friend Dahmer, yeah. So Jeffrey Dahmer, you were reading his biography or whatever.
Yeah, I was fascinated by that case.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I was. Yeah,
I mean, it was like because it was like you'd seen all these horror movies and like read about Jack the Ripper, and Jack the Ripper does not seem real because it's just such a weird, ambiguous fantasy at this point. It's like 100 years ago, and
so many weird
theories
things about that case.
Yeah, so it wasn't like real
Right.
to me. It was just more like a horror movie. And then when this comes out, you're like, you keep seeing these little details unfold and on the news, and you're like, this is real. This is
right.
this is a guy
Right.
that lives like 2 hours away from us, or he did. So yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Something. So he sort of became like this weird pop icon on top of it all too. And I guess it's sort of the same thing with like Charles Manson and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I remember there being comics about him, like in the '90s, that were just exploitative.
Oh, yeah.
And like like
Hard D. Fisher. Yep,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I mean,
Slayer wrote a song referencing him.
right, yeah. So when I saw that book, initially at Space, my first instinct is like, well, it's just going to be crap because the whole Hart Fisher association,
Exactly. Yeah,
type of thing.
that's exactly what I expected.
And it is not that.
No, not at all.
So this is the greatly expanded version of that 20-page comic.
It's like 10 times as much. Yeah.
Yeah. Actual comic storytelling, I think there's like 200 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here's why I wish you would have brought your book. Because I think my version has more things in it than yours does.
Oh,
Yeah.
mine had a 30-page typed out thing at the back.
Right. I had that, and then I had additional stuff.
Oh,
It had the because the original version of this comic actually was just a compilation of like a couple of short stories that he had put out mini comic form or published in like another magazine or anthology or something. So the first of those is reprinted in this, and there are deleted scenes that he drew for the comic and then just decided didn't fit entirely with what he was doing.
Yeah, so, I don't think that was in mine.
Yeah. Because as I was reading, there was like a couple places where, like at the bottom of the page, it would say, for deleted scene, go to page 245.
Huh.
So I'd go to that and then see what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But we can talk about those a little later. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
So this is the 200-page version of that comic, and I did decide to reread that 20-page book just to see, sort of compare and contrast.
Right.
And it's weird because a lot of what gets covered in this book, at least thematically and like the right tone of it, is all like in that 20-pager.
Right.
So like they're very similar. But this obviously goes into a lot more depth.
Right. It kind of gives it more breathing room, probably.
Yeah, yeah. And does the thing that I don't think that people really look for in a story about serial killers, is finds a little bit of a sympathetic tone to it.
Some humanity.
Yeah.
Right. At least to a point.
To a point.
Yeah.
Right. And so basically, this is sort of an autobiographical comic.
Yeah.
About Durf and his quote unquote friendship with Jeffrey Dahmer. They were they lived like 5 miles away from each other.
Right. Yeah.
They both had sort of similar upbringings.
Chemist parents and
yeah, they lived in like similar places, and they both went to the same schools. It's just that Dahmer's family life was a little bit of a struggle compared to Durf's.
Yeah.
Which contributed.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Because what's depicted in the book is it's rough, but like based on like everything else that we know from like other serial killers, he definitely did not have the worst upbringing of anyone else who goes on to commit horrific crimes.
Right. At least not that he's mentioned, because I've back in the 90s and then again right after I read this book, I watched some interviews with Dahmer on YouTube. There's a really long one that Stone Phillips did, which that guy is so freaking weird, Stone Phillips. But anyway, I don't know that Dahmer was the most off-putting person in the room when I was watching that interview. but yeah, he clearly states, this is not something that my parents did, or that you should look at them to blame. He seemed to
aware.
Yeah, exactly. So it's baffling. I think.
Because you look into the history of other serial killers and their home lives were full of abuse and neglect. And I guess his was a little bit of a neglectful, upbringing, but definitely didn't seem abusive.
Right.
But of course, with this, we're looking at a third-hand view.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but
he did do research. He read the book that Dahmer's father wrote, and he did looked through all the interviews and then, compiled a lot of research, on top of just his own personal experiences.
Right. Yeah, I guess Durf interviewed tons of people from the school and
Yeah.
from the town. But yeah, so I mean, it basically takes place in the late 70s,
Right.
when they were in good school and high school.
Just high school. Mostly high school. Because it makes a point of it of saying that, like, throughout, like, junior high, like, Dahmer was just invisible. Like, nobody knew he existed. And then, like, they got into high school, and then, like, Dahmer changed. And, like, he just started acting out.
Yeah.
And that's when they first started noticing him. But, like, Durf and his friends, they were all just nerds and losers, too.
Right.
And, like, Dahmer was just, like, even more of a nerd and a loser than they were.
Right. Like, he couldn't quite... I mean, like, he was... Like, Durf and his friends seemed like they weren't popular, but at the same time, like, they found each other.
Right, yeah.
Whereas Dahmer was just kind of lost, it seemed like.
Right. And, so like, throughout the story, like, you get the impression that, like, none of them were ever really friends with Dahmer. They just sort of hung around him occasionally because he was so weird.
Right.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, throughout the book, it's just he goes around imitating, this guy that he knew with cerebral palsy. And, like, Durf and all his friends just thought it was hilarious.
Right.
And that's, like, why they even just started hanging out with him.
Right. They're like, that guy's hilarious. And they actually called themselves the Dahmer Fan Club because, yeah. And they would insert him into high school photos and things like that. Like, let him sneak into the Honor Society photo shoot. And yeah, it's so weird to see all that. I mean, because it's like even realizing you're like I said earlier, wow, this guy's a human. This is really happening when you watch it unfold.
Right.
It's still so bizarre to think of, like, oh, they just, he was, just clowning around with his buddies.
Teenager,
yeah, it's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's just, and like, when you really think about it, like, as much as he was sort of neglected, in his home life and how socially awkward he obviously was, I mean, to think of the fact that, this group of, like, I guess there was, like, more like 12 people in the group, but in the book, 4 of them are really ever mentioned.
Just to make it simpler to tell the tale.
Yeah. So when you think about, like, the fact that, that was probably the most friends that he ever had in his life, and it was probably, like, the happiest time of his life.
Yeah.
At least before he just started indulging in his,
his fantasies. Right. Yeah, even in that Stone Phillips interview, because I watched it, like, the night I finished the book, and there's even a point where, he's like, oh, childhood wasn't all bad. He's like, I mean, I had friends in high school, and that was a really good time, and, I just picture him, like, hanging out with Durf,
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I can only imagine, like, because, it's the 70s and it's a small town in Ohio, and, he realizes he's gay.
Right.
And he has nobody to really talk to about that, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sure that also played a part, and now he turned out.
Right. Like, feeling like there's...
Like, being an outcast in the first place, and then feeling even more of an outcast.
Right. Like, he can't really even talk to his outcast friends about that.
Right,
it's like one thing that he doesn't have in common with them.
Right. But then, as it's revealed, he, like, not only was he just gay, but he also, like, had necrophiliac fantasies.
Right.
Like power fantasies and stuff like that. And that's, like, a third layer of outcast. I mean, maybe you can find eventually somebody to talk to about, being gay, but you definitely aren't going to find anyone to talk to about how you want to just kill a person and lay with them.
Right. Yeah, that's so weird. I mean, like, obviously neither one of us are trained to understand or, like, really try to figure that out, but at the same time, like, it's natural just to want to be like, when you read a story like that, like, why does something like that happen? Like how does that, how does it get to the point where you're like, okay, I've just, mutilated some roadkill and jerked off, and maybe I should really rethink things and, like, talk to somebody. I got to find somebody to talk to. You know, like, how does that not stop there? Like, even if it's super, super hard to find somebody.
Right.
I mean, that is so bizarre to me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, but yeah, I mean, how do you go about bringing that up to, you know, your parents who generally just ignore you, or, you know, any of your friends who just, you know, hang around with you because you're just so bizarre anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I guess if you brought it up to your friends, they would probably just make fun of you. If you brought it up to your parents, they'd probably just, you know, have you kind of locked up or put, you know, lots of medication into your body.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Yeah. I mean, that book was sad, but at the same time, just really engrossing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it shed a whole new light on something that, like you said, we kind of grew up with, but we never saw that side of.
Right. And I don't think, well, I mean, that counts for pretty much anything like that happens. You know, you never hear about, you know, what kind of friends did Charles Manson have when he was 13 years old. You know?
Right.
And I mean, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but, you know, it's you know, usually not in, like, a format like this, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, because it is weird, because, like, every time that there is a book that comes out, you know, about, like, you know, a serial killer or someone, you know, infamous, you know, it's always written by someone who is, like, super close to that person and, like, you know, saw, like, the whole deal go down, you know, or was just, you know, just enough on the periphery that they weren't involved.
Right.
But
they have some angle on it.
Right, yeah, but this is a guy who, you know...
Like, rode around in a car with him and...
Well, not only that, but just, like, you know... I mean, you know... The end of their relationship was, you know... I mean, I guess he did kill his first victim, like, you know, weeks after, like, they both stopped hanging out with each other.
Right.
But, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know...
He was there
for the most part. Well, yeah, he was there, like, you know, early, but he was never there for, like, you know, the huge downfall of it all.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And in fact, you know, other than, like, you know, a couple of mentions here and there throughout his life, you know, how often did he think about Dahmer, you know, between 1978 to 1991?
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, it's so strange. I can only imagine. Because, I mean, I love drawing autobiographical comics, and I'm pretty sure I would do one about someone I knew if I found out they did something so bizarre and horrible like that.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I would think that, you know, if that did happen to someone that you knew, you know, I mean, that's a way to just sort of process,
exactly,
all that information.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it was very cathartic for him to work through that, to do that book.
Because, I mean, yeah, whether or not, I mean, yeah, despite the fact that there was like 13 years where he never saw the guy, I mean, you know, to suddenly find out that, oh, this guy that I used to hang out with like all the time, you know, was guilty of these horrible crimes.
Right.
You know, it's like, man, that's gotta mess you up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's one thing too that was kind of like I thought about when I was reading the book is, do you think he feels like, you know, because there's some times in the book more than once, and like especially there's a time where he even says, you know, directly to the reader, you know, like, why were no adults doing anything about this?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you know, I'm not thinking that Durf is to blame, but I mean that's got to cross his mind too. Like, you know, did I see or you know, notice something that I should have
told someone about?
Yeah.
Right. You know, yeah. I mean, well, you know, you got to think of like the one friend who saw him just, you know, butcher a fish.
Yeah.
You know, just to see what it looked like.
Right.
I mean, that's a thing that somebody should have maybe
mentioned it to a guidance counselor or something. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it is one of those weird things where, yeah, it's just, And obviously, and Durf even makes the point in the book, they were all, 16, 17 years old.
Right.
Pretty much your day-to-day life is just focused on your problems
Right.
and what you're going through.
I've knew some weird people in high school, and
Right.
although it would surprise me if I heard like one of them was a serial killer, it's possible, right?
Right.
And you could only imagine like the weird guy in high school. You're like, well, he was really strange, but I thought every high school has a really strange guy,
Right, yeah.
like you don't think to, I don't know. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine that. It's so bizarre. Is this the first autobiographical book we've reviewed?
No, I don't think so.
No. Oh, that's right. No, because we did like Stitches and...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even like one of our first books was an autobiographical book.
Okay.
Chinese Jewel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. But yeah, this was pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And so not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be either like you said, it was going to be just like
super exploitive.
Yeah, just like some guy doing like, hey, my friend Dahmer, we and him like killed people together, and ha ha. Like I thought it was going to be like just fictitious,
Right.
or that it was going to be, some guy that never really knew him, but like he was like, hey, we went to the same school,
Right.
But
They were. As much as he could be friends with Dahmer, they were friends.
right.
And, like they even the book even has sketches that he drew back in high school of Dahmer.
Right.
As part of the Dahmer fan club.
Like him hanging out of a garbage can.
Yeah.
Something else. Yeah. Yeah, it's so strange.
It's I don't know, like we've talked about the story quite a bit here, but let's talk a little bit about the Urt.
Yeah.
The game. It's got a very Crumb type of feel to it.
Yeah.
But a little more blocky, a little bit.
Parts of it remind me of Peter Bagg too.
Yeah, I can see that.
Baggy or whatever, however you say his name.
I'm sticking with Bag.
Yeah.
But actually, I think it is Bag.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think I heard an interview with him once, and they introduced him as Peter Bag. So,
Although, and like this is no insult to Peter Bagg,
yeah.
but I don't think I could read a 200-page book by Peter Bagg because his art is not palpable. Like it's great, and like he's amazing at what he does. But after like because we read one of his books, so I'm sure it was like close to 100 pages.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I was like, I'm ready to not look at his art anymore. And Durf's art I thought was great. I thought, I didn't think about Crumb, but it's similar, especially that 60s style Crumb where it's like real wavy and bumpy looking.
Yeah. But it's weird because they show like his old sketches, and like some of them have like a similar feel to like the style that we get in this book.
Mm-hmm.
But like there was like one sketch of just Dahmer just like standing straight up, and I was like, wow, did Frank quietly draw that?
Yeah. His style was way different. Yeah, he was clearly a gifted artist even in high school.
Yeah. And I guess he's done other books, but like I've never checked him out. But
Trashed. I actually really want to read that now.
Yeah, me too. There's something about punk rock.
Oh yeah, some trailer park punk rock.
Something like that. Yeah. And I guess he does a comic strip called The City.
Yeah.
It's obviously not published here in Dayton.
Right. Yeah,
though it's about Cleveland, apparently.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely check out Trashed because it's like his life and times as a garbage man or something.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about like I've always sort of had that position of fuck autobiographical books, but I don't mind them if they're about something interesting.
Yeah.
And obviously I've never been or never will be a trash can collector or a garbage collector, so I'll read that.
Oh, I'm sure you can see like cool stuff like once a week. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, there's some interesting stories in it, and obviously, knowingly, I've never been friends with a serial killer.
Yeah.
So
I've had one or two friends over the years that I wouldn't be very surprised.
Right.
Like one of them you've met.
Yeah.
But
we're talking about Doogie.
I thought we were talking about Kurt. But yeah, how bizarre would that be to realize someone that you knew from school or something?
Right.
I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah, that would. That would be weird. I mean, I can barely handle the fact that some of the kids I knew in grade school grew up to be stoners. Yeah,
It's just as bad.
it is equally as bad.
They're both illegal.
Yep.
Enough said. Judge Dredd, Judge Dredd would look at Tommy Chong and Jeffrey Dahmer the same way. But do you think like there's an element of exploitation to this at all? Like as far as not like I don't think the story is at all.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as just like I remember I was at TCAF last year and he had a table there and there's like a big banner that said "My Friend Dahmer," and I don't even know if the book actually I guess it probably was out because this was like May. That was this year.
Yeah,
that was this year. And I just remember like seeing it and going, "Oh, that's ugh." You know, like as much as I'm like interested in serial killers and that whole like the pathology or whatever, I just assumed that it would have been a really exploitive, horrible thing. And like I wonder if it's not a little bit anyway, because I mean he is just making a lot of money off of this.
Yeah. There is a small element. I think no matter how much he wants to try to deny that there is. Because I don't know if it's in this one or if it's in the 20-page book, but he wrote an intro to both,
Right?
And one of them he talks about how he got some threats when he first published it because the exploitive nature of it.
Right.
He said that he really isn't. He said he really isn't looking for the money, because if he did, obviously he would have published it back in like 1992.
Right. Yeah.
And that makes some sense, but I mean, it is still a little bit trading in on the name and the recognition that people have. So whether it's intention or not, but there is a little bit in there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way I look at it. Like I don't think it's necessarily his intention or like even if that is a conscious decision, like I don't think it's his main goal. Like I think he really did need to tell his story,
right?
And I think he wanted to because he's I mean like that's what he does,
Right.
But at the same time, yeah, it's like I don't know. There's just a part of it that's it's always going to have that exploiting nature to it.
Right. I think it would have been worse. And while he does get into a little bit in the text portion of the book, I think it would have been worse had he, touched on like the victims,
right?
The main period of his kills,
right? Because it stops when he stopped knowing him. It's not.
Right,
it doesn't go into all that. Right? He's not recreating the horror.
Right. Because even in this book, like they touch on the very first victim, which happened like weeks after they graduated from high school and they stopped associating. And like even then, like there's really not much to it. They just show the guy, and then a little bit of the aftermath,
right?
But like not like the gory details or anything like that.
That's true. It's not like again From Hell is the Jack the Ripper story.
Right.
Again, it's so removed because it was over 100 years ago in another country, but
and it's also taken this weird like mythological feel to it. It is, and like the Jack the Ripper character, quote unquote, is like so surreal now to us that
it's like a boogeyman story.
Yeah,
because no one's ever But even that, like, there's a sequence where it very gratuitously shows one of the murders,
right.
And even knowing that is a really well researched version of actual history,
right.
Even that seems so less gratuitous than if Durf had like shown like him sawing Oliver Lacey's head off or whatever,
right.
So yeah, I think he made good choices as far as keeping it as tasteful as you, no
Right,
pun
yeah.
intended, I'm sorry, as tasteful as you can do a Dahmer story, but, yeah, I brought that up more of just a curiosity, like, I'm not like, my stance is not like, he's exploiting,
Right,
but I
right.
was just curious what you thought, because that entered my mind.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. There has to be a small element of it, whether it's intentional or not, but it is there, and you know, like yeah, I think ultimately this book is just him trying to get out, like what he feels about the whole situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a very small element of exploitation, I feel, but I don't think he ever intended that.
It just,
It's definitely not his ultimate goal in
Right.
having this book out.
yeah, it largely just seems a cathartic tale of him,
Right.
getting rid of that.
And he does try to bring up some good points too. That like at any point in time, like he brings up incidents within this book that, like at any point in time, Dahmer could have been stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if he had just gotten the attention and the help that he obviously needed.
Right. Or even, yeah, I mean, it even kind of, like, it only mentions it once in this book, but like the ineptness of the police where they pull him over and it's like 2 a.m. and he's got, rotting human parts and garbage bags on his car and they smell it and they're like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's just trash. And they're like, all right,
Yeah.
go ahead. And I know, like, I mean, Durf doesn't talk about this, but later on, Dahmer was, he was a registered sex offender.
Yeah.
Because he had, for years, I guess, just kind of, instead of murdering people, he was just kind of exposing himself to people.
Right.
And,
Like young boys. And,
Yeah. and like a naked, bleeding, handcuffed boy who didn't speak English escaped from his apartment, and the
Right.
cops gave him back to Dahmer.
Yep.
That is so crazy to me.
Right. It's it's one of those points that's brought up also that because Dahmer got away with so much stuff in high school that like he just thought he was invisible and
Right.
that he could never be caught.
Yeah, like he said, I think that's in the book. He thought that was like a superpower of his.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I'm uncatchable.
Because a big portion of the book is actually about how much alcohol Dahmer drank.
Yeah.
He was like by the age of like 15, he was like a total alcoholic to the point where he had like stashes of booze hidden around the school, and he like carried around a briefcase so that he could always have booze on him.
Right.
And he would just drink openly in class with like a styrofoam cup.
Yeah.
And like he got caught once, and that's like one of the deleted scenes actually.
Okay.
Because I think they only briefly mentioned it in the actual story, but the deleted scene actually shows like what happened. And basically, he got caught, and went to the principal's office, and the principal basically said that, well, I can call your parents right now and tell them that you've been drinking on school property, or I can give you a paddling, and that's the end of it. And Dahmer took the paddling, and then they just assumed that Dahmer learned his lessons and was just a
They actually literally give him a paddling?
Yeah.
In high school?
uh-huh.
Wow.
It was back in the 70s. So
That's strange to me.
yeah. So that was the only time that he ever got caught drinking in school.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
And there was another incident that is a part of the deleted scene of him. I guess a classmate of theirs died, and I guess it was a person that Dahmer, it sort of fit his sexual ideal,
Oh, yeah.
and he winds up at one point attempting to dig up the grave, and but the ground is too frozen, and he gets frustrated and just leaves, and then like the police just assume it was vandals or whatever.
Right. And like years later, he admitted to that it was him.
Right.
I remember reading something about that in the backlog information.
Right.
Yeah, because the book is great. I mean, he really does kind of, he explains a lot of the scenes, like in this, like account at the end,
Right.
and kind of shows where he got the information from. And yeah, it seems really well researched.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the first-hand information and the second-hand information from his friends. And,
Right.
So, yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I feel bad that I wish I would have, had read this earlier, and I could have talked to him about it, at TCAF, yeah. But, yeah.
Well, that's what you get for being a prejudiced asshole.
I know, right? Well, part of it probably is my own, guilt, because I bought the Hart D. Fisher stuff when I was, that young, I was like, this is awesome, because clearly, when you're a teenager, I understood that I was interested in this, but, everything is very confused when you're a teenager, and my mind was like, it's because that's awesome, and then, so, I mean, I wasn't, going around, pretending like I was Dahmer and playing Dahmer or anything, but...
Cosplay.
Yeah, no, I didn't do any cosplay. but at the same time, yeah, I was fascinated by it, so, I bought that stuff, and, I feel bad about that, too, so...
Yeah. Even in that first edition of the book, he has a section, in the intro, I know it's from that one for sure, where he says, hey, if you're just some sort of goth teenager who's just really into serial killers, or you're just the kind of person who obsesses over them, don't write me.
Yeah.
And also, I'd prefer it if you just didn't buy this or read this.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that sort of dispels a little bit of any of the exploitation aspect.
Yeah, because he also makes a very good point of saying that, he presents Dahmer as a very tragic, sympathetic figure until the point where he kills someone, and then at that point, there's nothing left.
Right. Yeah, because it does seem like, clearly, we're being told exactly how it happened, but it does seem like at that point, he was pretty much gone as far as who he was, and just whatever human elements there were to just a functional person were just gone at that point.
And even though he didn't kill anyone for another 9 years, I mean, just the fact that from that point on, he was just constantly in trouble with the law, and he was arrested multiple times, and he was a registered sex offender, and just sort of a loser through the rest of his life.
Right. That's sad. It really is, but yeah, it's.
But you have to think that as barely in control of his life that he was up until that point, that obviously that is where he just lost all control.
Right.
And it's amazing that he even lasted 9 years before killing another person.
Yeah, that is surprising.
But he clearly just no longer had any grasp of reality at that point. So
you gotta kind of think about the people that are out there working with troubled people like that at this point. Who are maybe helping prevent other people from, acting on these horrible fantasies. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that could have done some, similar things that have been stopped by just talking to people about it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, at least you can always just hope, that is the case. That somebody out there was prevented just because, someone
listened.
Gave a damn.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty heavy book.
Yeah. But really good. Mm-hmm. And I recommend it.
Yeah, definitely so. I know we actually got one person to read it. Actually two, because when I ordered the copy in at Mavericks, Adam looked at it and he's like, "Oh, I want to read that." And so he ordered his own copy, and today, when I left to go to Kathleen's, Doogie was sitting there reading my copies, so...
Nice.
We're getting people to read it already.
That's cool. Although, I don't know anything about this Adam feller, but just based on my prejudices, I'm guessing he's going to read it for the wrong reasons.
I don't know, he has good taste in comics. He reads Veggie Dog Saturn.
Like I said, he's going to read it for the wrong reasons. I mean, that's the only reason I read Veggie Dog Saturn, just to find out when you're going to snap.
Yeah. Well, I've already, been naked and drunk and Might as well just go ahead and take it to the next level in the next issue.
Drill a hole into some homeless guy's head and try to turn him into a zombie.
Yeah, that is something that was fascinating. Is like sometime it came to that point where he thought he was gonna create a zombie, like troop or whatever.
Right.
Like that is crazy.
Yeah. That is clearly someone who just had no grasp of reality anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's bizarre.
Yeah. All right, you wanna take a break?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Lately at all. If ever again, a greeting I send to you, short and sweet to the soul I intend. Come on now, honey, bring it on, yeah. Just remember me when you're good to go. Come on now, sugar, bring it on, yeah. Just remember me when it's something I said, or someone I know, or you called me up, baby, I wasn't home. Now everybody needs some time, and everybody knows the rest of it's fine, and everybody knows that. Come on now, sugar, bring it on, yeah. Just remember me when you're good to go. Come on now, honey, bring it on, yeah. Just remember me when we used to be friends a long time ago. We used to be friends a long time ago. We used to be friends a long time ago. We used to be friends. A long time ago, we used to be friends, but I haven't thought of you lately at all. If ever again, a greeting I send to you, short and sweet to the soul I intend. We used to be friends a long time ago. We used to be friends a long time ago. We used to be friends a long time ago. We used to be friends.
Hi, welcome back to Gutter Trash.
Hello.
So that was cool. You showed me on the break some of the deleted scenes that you talked about. Because I guess we mentioned that you read the ebook.
Yeah.
The ebook version.
Bought it off of Comixology.
Oh, did you go through the Mavericks portal?
I did, but they didn't have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? How's that? I don't understand.
I guess I don't know how it works. I don't understand it either, but I guess certain books are not available through the...
The retailer portals?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird because
I totally would have done it through Mavericks.
you would think like anything we can physically order, they would put in there. That's
You would
bizarre.
think, yeah.
Huh. That's good to know.
Yeah. So Mavericks did not get the 10 cents from my $10 that I paid.
That's why sales were down this week. I thought maybe like one of the Magic Hobo crew groups, like, their car broke down or something.
Sales couldn't have been bad this week.
No, it was Black Friday.
Yeah.
Actually, it was pretty good. Way to Pretty good turnout there.
You guys had a sale.
We did.
Yeah.
Some of it was big, and some of it was not so big.
Yeah. I spent some money there.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Bought the 2 most recent Walking Dead trades. One of which just came out Wednesday. And yeah, caught up on that totally. And I bought something else that was just in my file.
Yeah.
You guys had 50% off graphic novels and trades.
Yeah.
Some other stuff that your owner fought against.
Yeah. Yeah, he's usually pretty against any sort of sale.
Yeah.
Like, he comes up with weird statistics. He's like, if you think about it, he's like, I've done the research. Every store that's ever went out of business has at one point had a sale. Think about that.
Hey, and guess what? Every store that remains in business have also had sales.
Yeah, probably more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't actually say that, but I mean, he does always kind of twist, like he doesn't like advertising because once in the 80s, he advertised in a high school yearbook, and it was a coupon, where you bring this in and get such and such off, and
Right.
no one brought it back in.
Uh-huh.
And from then on, since the 80s, no advertising. Because that one thing didn't work. I mean, he was talked into splitting a billboard with his friend Ron.
Right.
But
I remember that.
That's the only other time since the 80s that we've
Right.
advertised. And, he was so against the billboard, but Ron, basically strong-armed it into it. Because he's like, I can't afford the whole thing, and
Right.
it'll be good for your business. And
Wasn't you telling me that somebody saw some sort of ad in obviously not sanctioned by Jack, but in one of those weird freebie sort of newsletter things that float around sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And they came in and was like, I saw this ad. I didn't even know this
Oh,
existed.
yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah. There was a guy on over the weekend, and he was like, so, did you guys just open? And I was like, no, we've been here since 81. And he's like, oh, because, I live in town, and I've never I mean, he was older, too. He was probably 50, so it wasn't like, he was only old enough to drive for a couple of years.
Right.
And he had no idea we existed, and he was into baseball cards and stuff. So
Right.
nobody knows we're there.
That's too bad.
That's why it's...
For a store that's been there for 30-something years, that should be more of a thing in the local area.
Yeah. I remember the first 10 years I worked there, we didn't even have a sign out front with our name.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It just... on the windows, someone had put stickers that say comic books, but
Right.
but there was no Mavericks or comic book shop or anything.
Right.
So I'm surprised that it ever lasted, It was opened at the right time where all that stuff was huge in the 80s
Right.
and early 90s. But anyway, enough about Mavericks. Fuck that place.
So with Black Friday, the major American holiday, comes the secondary major American holiday of this past week,
Oh yeah,
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Did you do anything?
My brother came over and we ate some. They made a turkey. I didn't eat the turkey, but we ate some food, and it was pretty nice. It was just very low key, just 4 of us. So.
Are you ever tempted to eat the turkey?
Nah, I never really liked turkey.
Okay.
The only food, or the only meat food that I ever really liked were chicken and fish. But I don't even, I'm not tempted with those. But I never really liked turkey for some reason.
Do you eat stuffing?
No, I don't eat the stuffing.
Okay. Because it's generally vegetarian, but
But it's inside of a turkey, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't eat the stuffing either.
You would not be able to eat the stuffing at my mom's house
Oh,
because that stuffing has meat.
in the stuffing.
Oh yeah.
Well, nice.
She makes a rice and sausage stuffing,
Oh,
and it is the greatest thing ever.
I think I've heard about that stuffing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't care how many years I've repeated it. I will continue to repeat it.
I'm taking it you went over there again this year for
Oh
that.
yeah. Very rarely do not do Thanksgiving at my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, I have no friends who ever want to invite me over. And as a whole, none of our family ever wants to be involved with us either. So it's usually just me and my mom and dad.
Right. That's the kind of Thanksgivings I like. Like, a couple of my coworkers were like, yeah, I had to go to 3 different places, and
I couldn't do that.
oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. Well, it's like, the thing I mentioned last week about, like, the people with the petitions to not work on Thanksgiving. It was like, at a certain point, why would you want to stay all day at your family's house? And then, to be one of those people that has to go to, like, 4 different places.
That sounds horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe it's like a good excuse to leave for those people. Like, I gotta go to Target. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, every single job that I ever had, from ages 16 through 26, all involved me working on a holiday. Could not wait.
Right.
It's like, I mean, like working at the movie theater fucking sucked on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, like at like 6 o'clock, I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't want to have to work on Thanksgiving, but that's just me.
Right. I mean, I don't want to work, but, I will.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's an excuse to get out of the house, because I don't like being somewhere other than my own house for more than 12 hours.
Unless you're getting paid for it.
Right, yeah. There's been a couple times where we've, like, gone to someone else's house for Thanksgiving, and I just don't like it.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't like it. My dad doesn't like it for sure. Like, we've been to my brother's house a couple times, and, like, we don't have traditions, but, like, what we do have is consistency. And we like those consistencies of, having dinner done by, like, 6 o'clock.
Right.
And then the one time we went to my brother's house, we didn't eat till, like, 9.
Oh, that's terrible.
And, like, we hadn't eaten all day because we were waiting for this huge meal.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Oh, yeah, we did at like 2:30.
Yeah. See, I don't get that either. I don't get the whole eating super early.
Well, my brother had to be in bed by 4 because he had to be up at 11 to go to work at midnight.
Right.
he worked midnight till 10 a.m. Friday at the mall.
Yeah.
So that's not cool.
But still, like, if you don't have to do that, like, I don't get why people eat early on Thanksgiving like that, but whatever. But certainly, you shouldn't wait till 9 o'clock at night to eat.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Especially, like you said, if you've been starving all day and then you gorge yourself, and you just, like, crash and tryptophan overdose. And
I've never had a tryptophan issue until this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've eaten Thanksgiving for all my life.
Yeah.
And, but, like, we finished dinner this week, and, like, almost immediately it hit me. And I was just like, I'm gonna fall asleep right here in my chair. Yeah.
Maybe you found the magic pocket of tryptophan, because every turkey has, like, one little bubble of tryptophan, the main source,
Could be.
Found this tryptophan gland.
But, then yesterday I went over for leftover Thanksgiving, and same thing.
Crashed.
Oh, yeah, like dinner was done, I washed my dishes, and then, like, I went to sit on the couch, and I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah, ours was awesome. Like, we've got leftovers, which is cool. I love the leftovers.
What good is leftovers if it's not turkey?
We got sweet potato souffle and green bean casserole. It's good stuff.
If you can't make a sandwich out of it, it shouldn't be leftovers.
You can make a green bean casserole sandwich. Put it in the pita pocket or something. I don't know.
There's a lot of things you could do. You just shouldn't do.
Yeah, we've spent the last hour talking about things you shouldn't eat.
Exactly.
So that's pretty good. We made it this far without making a high school joke about
cannibalism.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Did you other than work, did you do anything for Black Friday?
I worked open to close, and then we went out for food. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not really what I was talking about.
I think that's it.
Okay.
I don't think I did anything else. I
Hey,
did.
If you were off, would you have gone out?
Hell no. I would not have left the house other than to walk the dog. Yeah, I mean, there's even some stuff I want to buy, like Like, I'm gonna start doing, selling some stuff on eBay, and I was like, I've been thinking about buying a digital camera anyway, just to, take photos when I go to comic conventions and whatever.
Right.
So I'm gonna buy one of those, and I'm sure I could have got one, like, $30 cheaper, but I don't know, I don't want to battle the crowds.
Understandable.
I'll see if I can find one cheap on eBay.
I'm sure you can find them.
Yeah.
They're well, I mean, Black Friday and all that, but, from now till Christmas, there's always going to be deals.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Plus, Black Friday is when they get rid of all the crap anyway. They, like, shoot it out the door, and people are all clicking their heels. They're so excited, and then the good stuff is on sale for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm telling myself. That's what we did. We got rid of all the crap.
Yeah.
All those Walking Dead trades that these suckers bought. Oh, sorry. Yeah. You did some shopping, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Did you trample anyone at Walmart for?
Yeah, but that was actually Wednesday.
Just for fun.
Yeah. Just because I was at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. No, I sort of did some Black Friday shopping. I wanted to get a new monitor for my computer. And I figured that, Black Friday, I'm going to get a really good deal somewhere on it.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was looking out for ads and stuff like that, and I found a pretty good monitor at H.H. Gregg for like $100. It was a 22-inch widescreen monitor. It is a monster, and so I was like, yeah, okay, that's the one I'm gonna head for. And I left my parents' house, and they live right next to a mall.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, H.H. Gregg opens at 10. It's like 9:30, 9:45 here. And also, who's going to H.H. Gregg? Like every time you hear the news stories, it's like Toys R Us, Walmart, Target, and Best Buy.
Right.
Like those are the places where like the crowds are and the psychopaths and all that. I can go to H.H. Gregg.
Yeah, that's not gonna be too bad.
Yeah. So I drive to the H.H. Gregg by my parents' house, and I passed the Target, which has a massive fucking line. And their parking lot is so full that people are parking down at like the restaurant like a block down, and there are cops everywhere. I was like, fuck, I'm glad I'm not going there. And I passed by Toys R Us, and it was a similar situation. And then I got to the shopping center that has H.H. Gregg in it, and I pulled in, and like from the street, like the line looked fine. Like I mean, there was people there, but like it looked manageable.
Right.
Not a big deal. It's like I can wait in that. So I park, and I go to walk towards it, and I get to where I thought the end of the line was, and only to discover that they were circled behind the building.
Oh, it like looped around like that. Yeah.
And so I saw that, and out loud said, "Fuck this!"
Did anybody go, "Ha yeah"?
No.
They're like, "Yes, this sucks."
And just turned around and went home. Wound up buying the monitor online to pick it up at the store at a later date. Then I got an email like 2 hours later saying that it was available. So I was going out Friday afternoon to meet my friend for breakfast anyway. And so I just had it sent to the store nearest where we were meeting up.
Right.
And yeah, so after that, I just went and picked it up and went home.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You outsmarted the Black Friday.
Yeah, it took 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. No line. The only thing is I needed a cable for the monitor to tap to the computer. And I was going to go to like Office Depot, but I could not make a left turn onto the main road.
Yeah.
Because traffic was that bad because I was heading towards the mall. So I was like, yeah, I can go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's craziness. People have sucked the life out of the holidays with their consumerism. And the stores have too. It's mostly the store's fault.
Yeah, Nah, it's people. I say it's people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually I did a little research on Black Friday.
Oh.
Yeah. It was not really a thing until like the late 60s. And only then it was in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Yeah. The Philadelphia Police Department started calling the Friday after Thanksgiving Black Friday. Not a term of endearment due to all the people shopping on that Friday.
Okay.
And just how much of a fuck up they were making the city.
Oh, wow. See, I thought it was like stores that were in the red got back into the black.
I think they've tried to say that that's what that is, and I think that is like what's most widely believed.
Okay.
But no, yeah, it's because of people being assholes in Philadelphia. And then that really didn't really go outside of Philadelphia until like the late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started sort of like picking up a little bit of steam as that being Black Friday.
Right.
But then even by like 1985, Cincinnati and Los Angeles still had never heard the phrase Black Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, in '85 I was still like 8 years old, so I don't remember.
Right.
But yeah, I guess I wasn't familiar with that until I was much older.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy indeed.
Huh. Well, I'm glad it's over.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're back to Red Sunday or Orange Sunday, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So,
did you read anything? See anything? Do anything?
I've still been reading that Jonathan Ames collection of. It's called "The Double Life is Twice as Good." It's pretty good.
Is it twice as good?
It's twice as good as anything else I've read by him because it's the only thing I've ever read by him. What else did I read? I feel like I read something else this week. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't believe I did. I don't think I got any. Oh no, I did get a couple comics this week, but I haven't read anything. Yeah, just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
I did watch about 8 minutes of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou today.
Okay.
Before I fell asleep. I left Kathleen's early, and I was like, I'm going to go take a nap before I go over to Eric's. And I went home, and I put in that movie, and I was out. I was gone.
Because it's awful.
Yeah, because it's just a snoozer.
Yeah.
There's no explosions. There's one explosion. But yeah, I love that. The movie, like, everything about that is so, like, just calming, you know, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, the color and the dialogue and the music and everything about it's just really, really awesome.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that's pretty much my day.
Mm-hmm.
And chilling with Kat and napping. We went to Yellow Springs, of course.
Yeah.
Your favorite place.
Uh-huh.
I bought a couple of records. What records? Because we watched Friday night after we left the restaurant. We watched this documentary called "I Need That Record," and it was just about independent record stores, and it was kind of cool. Like they interviewed Mike Watt and Ian Mackay, and and just some like record store owners, and they kind of like followed this one record store around that was going out of business because of all the big stores, and it was kind of neat. But it kind of made me want to do some record shopping, so that's why we went out there today. But yeah, that's pretty much my week in a nutshell.
That's cool. Sounds good.
How about you? Anything fun? Anything different?
Met my friend for breakfast on Friday. That was nice.
Breakfast with friends is good.
She had to work on Black Friday, so we were meeting up before she had to go in for her shift. And we got there at like 11, and so she had to be at work at 1. So just spent an hour and a half chilling at this restaurant.
Nice.
Literally.
Because it was cold?
Yeah. I got there early, and the place was packed. So I was like, I better go in and get a table at least. And they sat me down, and I was like, man, it is freezing in here. And so I ordered coffee, and then the waitress went away, and then my friend showed up, and she came back, and I was like, "Can we move?" There was a vent directly above that booth,
Oh yeah.
and so we moved, and it was fine after that. But then, like after that, I kept count. There was like 6 couples that all got sat in that booth that all moved.
Really?
Yeah.
So it wasn't just you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus that would just make your food really cold really fast,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
No one likes a cold breakfast.
Nobody, unless it's cereal.
I even like hot cereal.
fruit.
Yeah, I like hot
Well, the hot cereal
Yeah.
should be hot, but the regular cereal should just be cold. Something else. I watched the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
I
yes.
actually really enjoyed that. Really surprised how much I enjoyed it.
I'll have to watch that, too. I've heard
Yeah.
good things.
I would recommend it. It's a little bit of an unnecessary reboot, but I thought it was really good, and it's definitely better than the third Spider-Man movie. So
Yeah, that would have to be.
yeah.
I haven't seen an episode of any cartoon of Spider-Man that wasn't better than that.
Maybe we should watch the early '80s Spider-Man cartoon.
Just to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
I maybe I'll wait till after they cancel the Amazing Spider-Man comics. I'll watch the
Okay,
movie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
It's like 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. Yeah.
No, I think it's. Is it still
I think it's
bi-weekly,
still
that show?
bi-weekly, yeah.
So it's about a month from now. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think they're on 98 right now.
Was it bi-weekly or is it 3 times a month? Because I know they were doing that for a while.
Yeah, they've done both. I can't remember which one they're at. Yeah, either way, it's stupid.
Yeah, fuck Marvel.
Really, seriously. Like, I love a lot of the characters and I love a lot of the artists, but I have no interest in any other books.
Yeah. But, I did read some books. I got my comic shipment in. So I read the all-new X-Men, #1.
Oh, yeah, I read that, actually.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's a good premise. I don't know exactly what the hell's happening, considering like all the other stuff that's going on.
All right.
Because, spoiler for the X-Men universe from the past year, Cyclops has basically gone nuts and turned into the Phoenix at one point, and then killed Professor X. And then last I heard, he was locked up in a prison.
I mean, that guy gets around.
Yeah.
It's a busy year.
So I thought he was locked up, and he's just running around in this book, just doing stuff and hanging out with Magneto and the White Queen.
Yeah.
See,
The influence of friends.
yeah. And some of the other the good X-Men remaining, they've all decided that they should probably figure out something to do to stop Cyclops from giving everybody a bad name.
Right.
And so Beast goes back in time and grabs the original 5 X-Men and brings them to modern day to stop themselves.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, seconds ago we were both like, fuck Marvel, we're not reading Marvel.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, yeah. But the only reason I gotta call
Well, you said that.
Well, yeah. Well, the only reason I read this is I bought it for my girlfriend, and I was, like, waiting for her to get ready for we could go to lunch.
Right.
And it was just sitting there on the coffee table, so that's the only reason I read it. But I enjoyed it. Like, I liked there was a Back to the Future joke in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And like, if I have to read an X-Men book, it would be something like that where like the X-Men from the 60s are in the present. That seems like a fun,
Yeah.
like even if the present is kind of shitty at the Marvel Universe, like it would be fun to see the 60s
Right,
X-Men
right.
interact with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll stick with it for a while. But you know, I mean, I'm not so anti-Marvel like you are, but you know, I read the newest issues of X Factor. I read the new issue of Hawkeye, which is still, I think, the best book that they're publishing.
We'll have to read that for the show eventually.
Yeah.
If you don't pick it, I will.
Right. I read something else today. I read some other stuff.
Any Image books?
No. My pile is Happy #2, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Yeah, I've only been reading Marvel and DC, other than like the 2 Walking Dead trades that I read yesterday.
Yeah.
Which I think mostly catches me up. Those two. I think the volume 17 is the one that just came out, and that's up to like issue 102 that one has, and I think issue 104 just came out. But I'm not going to switch back to single issues on that book.
Has he ever said how long he's going to do that story?
Yeah, like the first couple of issues, he said like issue 75.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to stop a train like that, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he has an ending in mind, but I'm sure he also wants to keep pushing it as long as he can.
Oh, yeah. It's making some money.
Millions of dollars is nice.
Yeah. I'll write that down in case that it's ever a question. Yeah, I'm sure. It blows me away that he's like able to do other stuff. It seems like that would be all engrossing. Just the whole thing that is Walking Dead, like not just writing the comic. And, but yeah, I mean, like he's still doing Invincible and then occasionally other stuff. Like, didn't he do Thief of Thieves or like?
No.
Or what do you do with that? He co-created it or something?
Yeah, he basically created the concept, and other people are doing it.
But what else is he doing? I know he's doing something else. Super Dinosaur.
Super Dinosaur.
Yeah. So I'm surprised he's still like I'm surprised Invincible's kept the schedule and you know.
I would say, well, I mean, Invincible and Walking Dead have been basically running concurrently since they started.
Right.
I think actually Invincible came first, even though they're a little behind. But yeah, I don't see him ever quitting Invincible. Like at least like not while he still has that story to tell as well.
Right.
And it's still a really good book, you know, on top of it. But yeah, the other stuff, you know, I guess it is just Super Dinosaur, but then, you know, like he wound up, like he has Invincible spin-offs, which other people work on.
Yeah.
Thief of Thieves, like he just sort of created the book and then other people, like, did it. And that's why I only read, like, 2 issues of it.
In Haunt. He was doing Haunt for a while.
He was doing Haunts, then he stopped doing that back in, like, issue 18.
Joe Casey took over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Much to Jeremy's unhappiness.
Yeah, screw that guy. Yeah, I don't, like, there are comic writers and artists that I don't like, but I would never just, like, in his position, I'd just never willfully not order books just because. Yeah.
Oh, we still order Haunt. I think there was a couple, like, I mean, it wasn't like something someone was like, when are you getting this? And like, oh, I don't know. You know,
right.
Like, it was nothing anyone, like, added to their file or, like, he just doesn't, like, try anything unless someone is clearly gonna buy it, you know?
Right.
Like, a lot of times we'll try stuff we don't know if we're gonna sell, but yeah, and if it's written by Joe Casey, he just doesn't unless it's on a file.
Yeah, there's a guy that I'm Facebook friends with who, man, I don't know why I'm Facebook friends with him at this point, but he's a comic fan.
Air quotes, he just did.
Yes. Because all he ever does is just bitch about comic books. And, like, Spider-Man is his favorite character. And he, like with the most recent issue that came out, you know, he was just like, well, that's fucking it, you know, I'm never reading this goddamn thing ever again. But, you know, he's also been saying that for, like, the past 6 years that Spider-Man has been, you know, ever since the One More Day thing.
Right.
You know, even before then, you know, he's just, like, you know, fuck Spider-Man, you know, and then, like, he listed, like, you know, now I'm only buying, like, you know, 2 books, you know, and they're both getting canceled. And, but, like, he barely reads any DC. He's dropped all the Marvel books he's ever read, but he's never bothered to read, like, any creator-owned books or independent books or, like, anything like that.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you even bothering to be a comic book fan? You know?
Right. It's like he wants to be upset.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's got to be something out there that you would like if you just tried it.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know...
like Invincible or...
Right, yeah.
Or
yeah.
a number of things.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have to be a superhero book,
nope.
but...
Yep. But, yeah, he refuses to read anything that's not a superhero book, and he refuses to read anything that's not Marvel or DC.
Huh. Well, good for that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a recipe for unhappiness.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
It really is. Yes, yeah, I mean, like, I would love to enjoy some of those books, but I can't because I know, like, even if it is good and, like, consecutively for, like, 4 issues, I can just feel it coming down the path where it's going to be roped into some giant event or crossover, and it just, like, I would rather just not even read the 10 good ones, you know,
Right.
if it's going to degrade into that. I would just rather avoid that. I don't know, maybe that's like, you know, I don't know, a psychological problem or something.
No,
but-
like, I get it. You know, again, I'm not as apparently anti-Marvel as you are, but, you know, a lot of the books that I do read are the ones that generally get left out of the events.
like your Hawkeyes and
Yeah, you know, and these are the things that are just generally left alone. And, like, you know, like Daredevil, like, throughout Civil War was, like, never involved in that crap. And, you know, X-Factor is hardly ever involved in, like, any of the big X-Men bullshit that ever goes on. But then, occasionally they are. And it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You just got to power through, like,
Yeah.
those 2 issues. And,
I mean, that's not a big deal. I guess it's just, to me, it's like, you know, it's not like I have so much free time that I could read everything. It's like, well, instead of reading those things that might sour, I'll just read something I know is not going to sour, you know?
yeah.
And if I had enough time to read all of it, I would, yeah, like Daredevil, I'm interested in Daredevil, but,
Right.
you know, like I have a pile of books that I know aren't going to cross over anything that I haven't read. It's like, just rather read that.
Right. I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything like that, but, you know.
But clearly I am.
No. You know, to each his own, and like I said, you know, like, yeah, a lot of the books that I do read generally tend to get left alone, but then, yeah, sometimes I do have to suffer through some kind of bullshit that I don't want to be involved with.
Yeah, it seems like they're good about leaving some of them for the
Right.
most part out. Like X Factor, I'm sure isn't as tied into the X universe as the other X books.
It is fairly left alone for the most part, but, you know, they did have like a small tie-in. Well, they didn't even have any tie-ins with the whole Avengers versus X-Men thing at all.
Oh, that's good.
So, you know, they avoided that.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
The only thing is, like, in the aftermath of that, you know, with the whole Uncanny Avengers coming out, Havoc being a part of that team.
Oh, yeah.
He was no longer part of that book and had only really been in it for like 3 issues at that point anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's little things.
Yeah, it's just little things here and there, but, you know, what can you do, you know? But, like, you know, Daredevil, you know, I've been reading that book forever, and then they went and did their own crossover, like, you know, a couple years ago, the
Shadowland, yeah.
And I was like, you know, man, I've been reading this book for years. It has not been involved in any of these bullshit crossover events, and now it's having its own,
Right.
and I dropped the book.
Yeah.
And then once it cleared up and was just now going to be its own book again, then I picked it back up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't it, like, become Black Panther for a while or something?
They do that with tons of Marvel things.
That is so
yeah.
confusing. They keep the numbering but change the title.
Yeah.
I mean, like, somebody was in the other day and they were looking for, they're like, why isn't Thunderbolts in my file anymore? And we're like, because it's not Thunderbolts anymore.
It's Dark Avengers now.
And then, like, another guy was like, oh, man, Dark Avengers, I'm not going to read that. It's already on number, like, 178 or something. I was
Right.
like, well, actually, it's, like, number 3. Or,
Right.
it drives me crazy.
With the Dark Avengers Thunderbolts thing, at least the creative team is the same.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's actually pretty much the exact same story. They just changed the title.
All right.
But then you have something like the Daredevil Black Panther thing, where it's like, well, Daredevil ended because of this stupid crossover, and then now we're just going to throw Black Panther into his book at that numbering with a completely different creative team. And,
It's so weird.
yeah.
It's so weird.
Well,
What are you going to do?
suffer through it.
That's what life's
As,
about.
as the comic industry crumbles around us.
Yay!
Well, fuck comic books is, I think, what we're getting to here.
I'm leaning towards that statement.
Yeah. So let's watch a movie instead.
Yeah, those are always, they never cross over.
Nope.
Well, Jason versus Freddy, maybe that was a
No. Yeah.
crossover.
Yeah. They hardly ever cross over.
That's right.
and they're going to live forever, and forever. So I'm going to pick a movie that will be around forever.
Yay!
So I'm pretty sure that this is an English movie of some sort.
Oh yeah, because as we mentioned last time, the last 3 films we've watched have been foreign movies.
Yeah.
We're trying to broaden our horizon.
Yeah. So this is a movie. It might be Canadian.
Oh, that's foreign.
But I'm pretty sure they speak English.
Yeah.
It is called No Such Thing.
No such thing. I've never heard of this.
It is with Sarah Polley, who was in the movies Go and the Dawn of the Dead remake,
Okay.
and the movie Splice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And an actor by the name of Robert John Burke, who is he's kind of a that guy.
Okay.
I like him a lot whenever I see him in things. You would probably know him best as RoboCop 3.
I've never seen RoboCop 3.
And then you would probably know him better as Tommy Gavin's cousin.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Sweet. Is it a horror movie?
No.
Is it a comedy?
No.
Musical?
No.
Western?
No.
Porno?
No.
Those are the only 5 genres of film I like.
Okay. Well, then it's probably closer to a horror movie with a little bit of comedy than anything else that you mentioned.
Maybe a slice of porno?
Probably not.
Oh. Then veto.
Well,
What?
no. A slice.
Okay.
Like a very thin fraction of a porno.
As long as there's a slice, I'm in.
So there's a little chunk of comedy, a little chunk of the horror, a very finely slivered piece of porno, but probably mostly a drama.
Sounds like a tiramisu dessert.
Yeah.
Like a best of everything.
But it is about a monster.
Oh, sweet. No such thing.
No such thing.
Let's do it.
All right, then.
Let's watch a movie.
We will.
That's right now.
Okay. I'd rather get something to eat first.
Oh, yeah, you haven't eaten yet.
Yeah. So we'll do that. Then we can watch a movie.
Sweet.
Okay. Then.
Let's do it.
Goodbye.
Actually, just ate.
I figured. Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information, links to our Facebook and Twitter pages, and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.